A couple of veteran coaches going head-to-head, as they have so many times over the years. Coach Rolly Massimino in his 16th season, 305 victories, and Lou Carnesecca, 21 years at St. John's, 455 victories coming into this game tonight. St. John's leads the series 45-24. And earlier in the season, as Ron mentioned, it was a 19-point difference. On the 7th of January, 81-62 was the final there. Now let's meet the starting lineups for both teams. To handle that, the public address announcer here, Al Elia.
Good evening and welcome to Villanova University's DuPont Pavillion as the Big East Conference presents tonight's game between the St. John's University Redmen and the Villanova University Wildcats. Starting at guard for St. John's, a 6-foot freshman from Syracuse, New York, number 12, Jason Buchanan. For Villanova, a 5'9" senior from Jersey City, New Jersey, number 3, Kenny Wilson. At guard for St. John's, a 6'5" senior from Pavillion, New York, number 23, Matt Rust. For Villanova, a 6'6" senior from Altoona, Pennsylvania, number 42, Doug West. At center for St. John's, a 6'11" freshman from Sunnyside, New York, number 41, Robert Worden. For Villanova, a 7'3" junior from Huntington, New York, number 33, Tom Grice. At forward for St. John's, a 6'10" junior from New York, number 11, Jason Williams. For Villanova, a 6'5" senior from the Bronx, New York, number 22, Gary Massey. For St. John's, a 6'8" freshman from the Bronx, New York, number 21, Malik Sealy. And for Villanova, a 6'6" junior from Columbia, South Carolina, number 35, Rodney Taylor. The head coaches in his 21st season at St. John's University, Lou Carnesecca. And in his 16th season at Villanova University, Rolly Massimino.
We are set for the Wildcats and the Redmen. Final game of the regular season for both teams. We'll have it for you after a word from your local stations. Good crew working tonight's game. Officiating-wise, the referee Tim Higgins, along with Jim Burr and Jody Sylvester. In red, the Redmen from St. John's. In their home white, the Wildcats of Villanova. Tom Grice will jump it up against Robert Worden. Williams, Sealy, Buchanan, Rust, the other Redmen. Taylor, Massey, Weston, Wilson for Nova. And it is Wilson playing with that stress fracture. It's bothered him a lot. Here's West inside to get the first basket.
Well, it's senior night. You got to get those points in a hurry. And Doug West, very important. He has a big one. Kenny Wilson's playing hurt. West can really get the job done, putting the points up there.
Doug West's problem has been a back problem. He has practiced very little. The early lead belongs to Villanova. NCAA tournament selection time is coming up.
That's right.
And it's vital for both teams.
They've got to get a win here and then go into the Big East tournament in strong fashion. Of course, they want to avoid, as you mentioned, John, in the opening, that 9-8 game next Thursday night.
Sealy kicks it back to Rust for 3, and he hits it. So Matt Rust with the three-pointer, his 33rd of the year.
Now, that's a good start for St. John's from the perimeter. Matt Rust has made 32 of them this year. Only had made 2 coming into this year. That time against the Villanova 1-3-1 zone.
Rice kicks it in the corner. Massey rolls it inside. Taylor with a power move. He draws the foul. Jim Burr picks up the first foul of the night. He calls it from behind, trying to sneak in there with Jason Buchanan.
Now that happens a lot when a player posts up down low. The backcourt people drop down to try to help out. A lot of times you'll see a quick reach foul on the floor.
So at the line is Taylor. Good foul shooter, almost 80% on the year. Averages 9 points a game. 3-2 St. John's in the early going.
Taylor had a very strong game at Georgetown this past week, where I thought Villanova really put in a game effort against the Hoyas with Kenny Wilson. Very limited action, and Doug West did not play in that game with a sore back.
1 out of 2. We're tied at 3, and we've played just over a minute here at DuPont Pavilion. Final in that game was 76-62, and of course the tournament is coming up for these two teams. St. John's last outing was also on Monday when they defeated Boston College in a great game. That was an overtime game, 62-59.
Nice look.
Dan. Seeley misses the tip, and the rebound belongs to Villanova.
That's a beautiful feed by Williams. He went baseline and drew a crowd.
Now Grice with the good feed. Ball tipped up and taken away by Jason Buchanan. He'll push it. Brust on the other side.
It's going to be a foul. Number 2 on Buchanan very early in this one.
So Jason Buchanan has committed both the fouls that we've had so far in the game.
Well, St. John's looking to push it here. Buchanan, he's got some good speed in the open floor, but Kenny Wilson establishes excellent position to take the charge.
So Wilson took the charge and got the basketball back. We're still tied at 3 with 18-18 to play first half here at Villanova. Taylor's jumper from the side, good. Well, Taylor with 3 points.
Well, he had 15 points in the game Wednesday. Rodney Taylor has battled injuries throughout most of his career, but he's probably among the healthiest right now on this banged-up Wildcat team.
5-3 Villanova. The Redmen of St. John's with it. Seeley turns and gives it back to Brust. Brust, the senior, winding up his Big East career. He started his basketball career in North Carolina.
That's right. Nice look again.
Dan lays it home this time.
Interesting defensive set by Rowley to start this game out. They're normally in that 2-3 matchup, but they're extending in the 1-3-1, trying to spread the floor a little bit against St. John's.
A good job, as you mentioned, by Williams to get the ball inside to Dan.
Well, he keeps taking it baseline and forcing people to come to him. He draws a crowd. St. John's is playing characteristic man-to-man defense. They do a good job to help out, though.
Grice starts a move into the lane, up with that right-hander and in. Tom Grice, one of the most improved players in the Big East Conference over the last couple of years, and it's a 2-point edge for Villanova.
The first meeting between these two teams, it was really a tight game. The final score, 19 points, doesn't reflect it. It really widened at the end. But St. John's out-rebounded the Cats 39-21 in that game.
Pretty good position that time by Williams. He blocked him off and lays it home. We're tied at 7.
Seems awfully easy against that 1-3-1 to get it down low early for the Redmen.
The first substitute set to check in the ball game. It'll be Mark Dowdell coming on for Villanova. Another young player, a freshman who's played a lot. Both these teams, a lot of young players, very important, especially at St. John's.
Absolutely, and Mark Dowdell is really an exciting one, too.
And inside, the foul has been called on Robert Worden. Each team is 3 out of 4 in the early going.
Been a lot of talk in this league, of course, about Billy Owens at Syracuse and Alonzo Mourning at Georgetown. But we really are seeing a fine group of young ball players. Rowley wants to talk it over with Tom Grice down low. Grice had that nice turnaround moments ago.
Dowdell is in the lineup. Good, quick move by Massey, and he jams it home. What a great move along the baseline.
Well, he won that slam dunk contest at the end of last season. Massey, known for doing that, and he's known for his defensive abilities, can ignite the crowd. Williams
now starts to move into the lane. He's got power off the glass and in. His 4th point. Tied again. It's 9-9, 16-11 to play first half. Jason Williams has really risen to the occasion this year for the Redmen. There's always someone. Last year it was Shelton Jones. This year it's been Jason Williams. Wilson for 3. Kicks away. Taylor battles for the rebound and chases it down in the corner. Well, he's taking a few steps down in the corner there. Good hustle, though. Kenny Wilson's playing hurt. We'll see how long he can go. If his foot gets too sore, we'll look for the freshman, David Miller. Here's Taylor's jumper from outside. It won't go. Tipped up once by Worden. He tries to track it down and does. Pushes it to Jason Buchanan. He kicks it to Seeley. He pulls up, and he'll have to reverse it and set up the half-court offense. Nice job by the freshman not to force that one. They get it inside to Williams. His turnaround, bending off. Rebound underneath by Doug West. How about he shoved out under there? How about the box out by Dowdell? Just cleared Worden. Here's Dowdell starting a move. Puts it back. Now the good penetration on the feed to Taylor. Shot partially blocked, and Worden for St. John. St. John's is doing a good job limiting to Villanova with just 1 try. 3-pointer from Brust. He's got 2. Now that just really opens things up for St. John's to get the inside-out threat. Matty Brust looks particularly up for this one, and he's always on an emotional high. 3-point lead now for the Redmen. Matty Brust really has an ability to lead this St. John's team with a lot of intangibles. Real leader. Massey's jumper is good. Gary Massey has 4 points. It's 12-11. Good start to this one in DuPont Pavillion. Buchanan, who runs the offense, averages 4.8 assists per game. That's just a little less than Wilson.
Yeah, he's done a fine job since being inserted into the starting lineup early in the year.
Massey strips it away from Wardan. Here comes Wilson looking to Taylor. Williams is there, so Taylor shoots the jumper. And from behind, the foul is going to be called on Dowdell. I think he cleared out earlier, and that time he got caught.
Yeah, I think Rodney Taylor took a quick shot that time, didn't allow any of the other white jerseys to get down in rebounding position.
Dowdell with his first foul. We have a break here at DuPont Pavillion. 14-17 to play. A 1-point lead for St. John's. We'll be right back. I'll show you a couple of guys who like power moves inside. First of all, for St. John's, here is Williams.
Well, and he's done a nice job feeding people. Now he gets the good feed inside, able to finish off, and it's what you call the quick first step, able to get up way over the rim. Gary Massey.
Now we come back to live action with 14-14 to play first half. 12-11. St. John's in red leading Villanova. Wardan way out to take the feed from Jason Buchanan. Wardan is a freshman. Malik Sealy is a freshman. Jason Buchanan is a freshman. All in the starting lineup.
They've seen a lot of minutes this year, though, so they're playing like veterans at this point. Brust is on fire early.
But only 2 that time. 8 points for Matt so far.
Couldn't get the trifecta. He's had a couple of them already. Villanova went man that time, but can't cool off St. John's, who has hit 6 of their first 8 field goals. They're really lighting it up at 66%.
And Brust is 3 for 3, 2 of them 3-pointers. And Brust bumping there and picks up the foul. The first foul on Matt Brust. That is 14 fouls against St. John's as Rolly Massimino works along the Villanova bench.
Wants to try to pull off some of his Wildcat magic late. Come on with the strong finish. Always been a good NCAA tournament team. And
here's Miller. That's freshman. Lays it home.
Selection committee just to finish off that thought. We'll look at that. The Wildcats have always been tough around tournament time. Yeah, the freshman looked good on that move.
Good move by David Miller. He's a freshman from Bridgewater, New Jersey. Guarding another freshman in Jason Buchanan. Knocks it away from him. Buchanan gets it back, kicks it across. This is 2, and it's short. Grice with a rebound looks to break it out, but they can't.
Probably a game where we'll see a few fast breaks, but for the most part, both of these teams like to work out of the half-court set.
Grice has it down low, works into the lane, and is fouled as he tried to make the move. Also in the lineup right now is Greg Woodard. He's another freshman from Rochester, Pennsylvania. Second foul on Brust.
Now we're seeing a couple of reach fouls while players put it on the floor. Fundamental, so important in rebounding. You've got to box your man out, where Dan giving up has actually the big height advantage there over Woodard, but Woodard boxes him right under the basket that time. Good job.
Tom Grice shoots over 72%. And that was what you were talking about earlier, the last time. Not really the kind of game that you'd expect or hope to get from Tom Grice. I'm a junior from Huntington, New York.
Got a very soft touch for a big man. If he can stay out of foul trouble, he has games where he doesn't miss many from the floor, can put the numbers up there.
Grice has 4 so far tonight. And Nova goes back on top by a point.
Villanova's mixing up the defense. They're showing a 1-2-2 this time. They'll match up out of it. They've shown 1-3-1 man, and now this zone set.
Here is Williams. As West comes out to pick him up. Wardan kicks it along the baseline to Brust. He's double teamed. Tried to go back, and Grice knocked it out of bounds. So with 12:31 to play in the first half, Villanova leading by a point. Brust will inbounds for St. John's.
Lou Carnesecca will flash Wardan high a lot because he's an excellent passer.
Malik Sealy. This is Buchanan against Miller. Now Sealy along the baseline with his jumper, and it won't go. Foul called as he was going to the basket.
I think they caught Mark Dowdell.
Mark Dowdell with his second personal foul. Dowdell, a freshman from Howell, New Jersey. So a lot of freshmen seeing a lot of playing time for both teams. Villanova right now with 3 freshmen on the court. St. John's as well, using 3 freshmen.
But we are seeing some of the fine younger players that have come into the league this year. Some of them a little less heralded than the Alonzo Mourning, Billy Owens combination, but certainly have made major contributions to both clubs.
Seeley, nothing on his scorecard yet, as he misses both.
He has struggled from the line this year.
Shooting only 56%. Now the freshman works it up, David Miller. Taylor looks inside, decides to move that way. Nothing there. Woodard. Now Grice, and again Woodard.
Villanova standing right now offensively.
Tried to force it inside, and Villanova lucky to get it back. Grice with a jumper.
That's a great job by Rodney Taylor to keep it alive. David Miller's got to get that basketball up top and look to penetrate a little bit more. Good accidental offense, though. You'll take that anytime you can get it. And Nova really trying to confuse the Johnnies right now with these defenses.
That is an offensive foul. Cut off the baseline. And Williams crashing in to pick up his first personal foul. A 3-point lead right now for Villanova. 11:31 to play in the first half. More after a word from your local stations. This copyrighted telecast produced by authority of the Big East Conference and is intended solely for the private, non-commercial use of our audience. Any publication, reproduction, retransmission, or other use of the pictures, descriptions, and accounts of this game without the express written consent of the Big East Conference is prohibited. The Wildcats bring it up. They lead by 3. That's as big a margin as we've had by either side so far in the first half.
Well, both teams have come out and shot it well. Villanova's mixed up the defenses, and St. John's is trying to play solid. Man, both teams going to their benches early in this one.
West finally works it to Massey, stripped away and into the hands of Seeley.
Oh, that was a near number 3 foul on Matt Brust, who's had a hot hand early for St. John's.
Buchanan, top of the circle, hits it inside to Muto, who comes on. This is a 3-pointer. Brust hits the deck, no foul, no basket.
Well, Massey might have gotten away with one in return. Some contact there.
10:50 to play first half as Miller backs out just a bit. Knocked away. Villanova will keep it. Muto, big number 50 in the lineup now. Sean is 6'11". He's from Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania. He's given Robert Wardan a little bit of a rest here.
He lost some weight during the offseason, came back quicker this year, has provided really some limited minutes down low.
Taylor against Williams. Now Grice slapped away by the Redman, but kept by Massey. As he works underneath, can't get the roll. Grice is there, tries to follow once. Here he is again. This one bends in.
Nice work by the big guy. The second and third effort proves productive.
Grice with 8 first half points. He's averaging 14 a game. Nova stretches its lead to 5, biggest of the first half.
St. John's having trouble matching with the big 7'3" man down low.
Brust to Williams along the baseline. Up. Too harsh. Seeley saves it for St. John's. He lost it in the lane. And it's Massey to Miller.
Massey's always around the basketball. If there's a loose one, he tends to come up with it.
Grice works into the lane for the little hook. It rolls home.
Oh, has he got a soft touch?
Grice has 10 points to lead all scorers in the first half.
St. John's has got a double up on him. He's getting the isolation. It's all one-on-one.
21-14, 9:30 to play first half.
Villanova's really fortunate that St. John's is not a pressing team because they are pressed here to go with the freshman David Miller, who hasn't seen a lot of action.
Grice bats it away. Well, Grice doing it all right now. Nova wants to run a bit. Grice is 4 for 6 from the field, 10 points, 3 rebounds, and he just slammed the block away. Villanova's on a 10-0 run right now.
And he's playing with aggressiveness and emotion right now.
Taylor from the side. Brust rips down the rebound.
Did he ever? Crowd doesn't like it. It was aggressive.
He's one of those kids, you love him if he's on your team, and you can't stand him if he's playing for the other guy.
Absolutely.
But he is quite a competitor.
Yeah, no one can deny that.
Miller knocks it away and picks up the foul. The first on David. Back once again is Kenny Wilson. Also coming into the lineup for St. John's is Terrence Mullen. Chris's brother will give Jason Buchanan a rest. From
Xaverian High School, where Chris had played in Brooklyn. Terrence saw perhaps his best minutes of the year during the ECAC Holiday Festival around Christmas time against Fordham and Ohio State, where he logged some minutes and really got the job done.
He's out there on the point right now for St. John's. Jordan has also returned.
Can't kill the dribble out that deep, though. The point guard, so important to keep the dribble alive and look for the penetration to set others up.
8:20 to play in the first half. Nova with a 7-point lead. The Redmen have the basketball. Seeley. An awkward shot at the foul line. Wilson comes back for Villanova.
He left his feet. He had nowhere to go. This 1-2-2 matchup is bothering St. John's right now.
They roll it inside to Taylor. He looks around. No place to go. Seeley now teams with Mullen. Numbers not there. Mullen's going to have to bring it back out.
Oh, that's a walk by Jordan. Got away with it.
Jordan gets it back off the lane. Spins. He's fouled by Wilson. Kenny Wilson with his first.
St. John's looks tentative right now, and Jason Buchanan on the bench with 2 personal fouls. Terrence Mullen's got to just take this St. John's team and run it. With point guards not taking charge, you'll find some people a little bit hesitant out there, which we're seeing.
Dowdell back in. Jordan at the line. It rolls off.
Hit just about all the rim, just wouldn't go down. Jordan, as we mentioned earlier, did not play in the first meeting. He had a calf injury sustained in the ECAC Holiday Tournament earlier this year.
7:49 to play in the first half. Back after this from your local stations. Welcome back once again. It's 21-15 Villanova. Grice, a big factor in the early Villanova lead.
Well, he's done it offensively and defensively with this one, and that sets up a fast break opportunity for the Cats.
It has been 6 minutes and 4 seconds since St. John's has scored a field goal. They have only 1 free throw during that period of time. Nova has opened up a 6-point lead in the last almost 7 minutes.
They've done it with good, solid defense. Tommy Grice has been very tough and low. Took the shuffle step that time, though.
Obviously, the Redmen coming along the baseline there bothered him. He lost his concentration. He turns it over. 21-15. It's a 6-point lead. Biggest lead has been 7. Timeout called by the referee, Jody Sylvester. Something on the ball.
Gonna wipe it up. A little too slippery out there.
So far, Rowley looks very composed, doesn't he?
Yeah, the coat still on at this point. Louis got his off, but before this game's over, both coaches, along with their players, will get a good workout, I'm sure.
7:30 remaining in the first half. Along with Ron Perry, I'm John Sanders here at Villanova. We're happy to have you with us tonight for the windup of the regular season in the Big East.
Villanova showing man-to-man this time, and they continue to try to confuse and make St. John's recognize defenses.
He got it over Grice and got it in. Good shot by Jason Williams. Grice able to put the good defense on without picking up the foul.
Jason Williams finds a way. He's very comfortable, very composed, a lot of poise. Gets it done.
16 fouls at this point for St. John's, 4 for Villanova. We're just inside 7 minutes remaining first half. West starts a move against Seeley, gives it back to Dowdell, top of the circle. It kicks right back to him. Brust knocks it away. Saved by Werdan. The Redmen have it, down by 4.
Good hustle by the Redmen that time. Dowdell didn't have a great angle to get it down to the blocks.
Williams against Dowdell from behind. He's fouled.
Both teams trying to go down low, and Villanova with the edge in that department. 18 front court points for Villanova, just 7 for St. John's.
That's the 5th foul on the Wildcats. Check it. They called it on, not on Kenny Wilson, but on Mark Dowdell. So Dowdell now has 3. The freshman's in foul trouble early. Here's Williams. Taylor got caught up in the net. Williams gets his 8th point. It's a 2-point game.
Now, the only way to stop Jason Williams down low is to not let him get the basketball. And I think the same will be true of Tom Grice in this game. Got to deny defensively.
Miller to Massey. He got Brust in the air, didn't shoot. Miller will from the side. Bends off. Grice tries to keep it alive, but I think Tom may have fouled getting that rebound. That's the call.
Too much elbow to free himself up. Got caught.
So now a chance for the Redmen to tie, or perhaps with a three-pointer take the lead. They have two of them. Brust has both. Terrence Mullen right now running the offense. As Ron mentioned, Buchanan out with a couple of early fouls. Verdun blocked by Grice.
What a battle going on over there between Massey and Brust.
Seeley with a steal to Brust against Grice, and now Grice picks up his second foul in a row.
Wild scramble for the basketball. Tommy Grice felt he had his hand straight up that time and did not commit the foul. I think there was some body contact, though, as he picked up number 2. Wild scramble for it. That's the end. Diving for it. Okay, that's where she began. And Massey, great hustle, but good anticipation by Seeley to free up Matt Brust. And there was the body contact by Grice.
Brust, a good foul shooter, over 82%. He has 9 points here in the first half. He is capable of stringing them out.
I saw him one night at Georgetown this year where he had a host of three-pointers, and he finished the game with 26 points. I believe he hit half a dozen threes that night.
Brust has a couple of steals included in his 10 first-half points. Grice with 10 at the other side for Villanova, but he sits down, and Barry Beckadam is in. West with a three-pointer. Won't go. Taylor keeps it alive. Up, off the glass. Tipped up again by Beckadam. Still running around. It's finally tipped away. Brust will chase it down for St. John. The game is tied at 21. 5:14 to play first half.
I mean, John, that went all the way around the rim.
Miller with a steal for Villanova. Now West. It's a 2-on-2. Doug will take it down the lane and draw the foul. Terrence Mullen got him as he went up.
Not pretty action these last couple of exchanges, but a lot of hustle and intensity. Certainly keeping Rowley on his toes on the sideline.
Both teams now at 7 personal fouls, so we'll be shooting everything for the last 5:04 of the first half of play, and it's been a good one. 21 all right now.
Really has been. In the first meeting between these two teams, St. John's was 35 out of 37 from the line, and Villanova was 5 out of 9. I'd say that had a lot to do with the margin of victory in that game. A 19-point win for St. John's.
Absolutely. See the numbers for Doug West, the senior from Altoona, looking for his 4th point. Gets it.
Now his back looks good in this game. He hurt it late in the BC game a week ago. Did not play against Georgetown. Had some swelling in the back area. It was bothering the nerve.
Good quick move by the Redmen to set up a 2-on-1 at this end. Williams to Seeley.
I thought that was a good note call. Jason Williams was trying to move laterally.
Rowley didn't like the no call.
Absolutely, he did not like it at all, but I thought Williams made quite an attempt to go laterally, and Taylor went down with it.
23-23. West at the top of the circle. His jumper bends out. Taylor follows, gets the roll. Rodney Taylor works hard. He's got 5 points, and Villanova has a 2-point lead.
Just a gutty effort down there by Taylor. Nothing fancy, just keep plugging.
Terrence Mullen walks it up. St. John's will work their half-court offense. Williams looks to Verdun, starts a baseline move. Tried to jump it up. He was stripped by West, out of bounds, touched last by Villanova. Exactly 4 minutes remaining in the first half. It's 25-23 Nova. We'll have more basketball from Villanova in just a minute. The Plymouth player of the game to be selected at the conclusion of this game and during every game televised by the Big East Conference Television Network as part of the Chrysler Corporation sponsorship of Big East basketball. Certainly a couple of early candidates would be Tom Grice and Matt Brust. They have led the way with solid play here in the first 16 minutes of the first half. The Redmen will keep it. Offensive edge at this point in the game goes to Villanova.
Oh, that's right. They've got 16 rebounds to 6 rebounds for St. John's. 8 of those 16 rebounds have been offensive boards. St. John's not doing the job boxing out. St. John's keeping right in this, though, with 52% shooting compared to Villanova's 40.
Williams got loose along the baseline, missed the shot. It tipped up again, once, twice, and underneath. A foul is going to be called on Williams. He's not happy about it. He let the little guy Miller get inside and was trying to get the ball back. 2 on Jason.
Now Villanova out scrapping for the basketball. And for the most part, St. John's has not had the second efforts in this first half. Just one offensive rebound, although that time they did bat the ball around pretty good. Never controlled it, though.
And in the shooting situation, Miller will go to the line. Another Villanova player who's been plagued by injuries is Barry Beckadam, who's playing, of course, because Tom Grice picked up a couple of quick fouls.
He's had the knee problems. He's got the special fitted knee brace. Certainly has slowed down his progress.
Miller misses the front end.
Oh, what a rebound by Massey.
Massey kept it alive. It was pushed out of bounds, or either somebody else touched the ball out of bounds. It'd be Villanova basketball.
Must have been pushed out because evidently that was the call. Massey had possession.
Inside, a foul. It'll go against Villanova.
Beckadam on the weak side screen, moving.
So Barry picks up his second personal foul.
Malik Sealy, we talked about in the beginning, had such a strong outing the first time these two teams played, has really not gotten off the mark in this first half, but he has had a very consistent season, averaging in double figures.
He has only 2 points on the night and is 1 for 3 now at the line. He's a freshman from the Bronx. 6,500 capacity here, and there's no empty seats.
Malik Sealy reminds me a lot of a young Reggie Williams, who of course started Georgetown, now in the pros. Same kind of frame.
4 points for him in the first half, and we've got another tie. It's 25-25. 3 minutes, 30 seconds left first half from Villanova.
Yeah, it's an interesting matchup. Neither team likes the real up-tempo style. They like to settle it down, execute in the half-court set. So it's kind of old-fashioned traditional basketball at play here. Who can execute better, rebound, and just stick to the fundamentals.
West against Sealy, into the lane, floats and hits.
Moves like that will certainly help Villanova's cause.
Nova by 2 at 27-25. The one thing we would not expect is a game in the 80s tonight, because both these teams, as you were pointing out, Ron, average right around 70 a game.
That's right. And when Villanova, for one team, allows teams over the 70-point mark, they're just 5 and 12 this year. So much better when they control the pace.
Wordan's turnaround, a beauty.
Quick release.
5 points for Wordan. It's 27-27. Villanova ran off 10 in a row a little bit earlier and stretched out a 7-point lead, but for the most part it has been tight all the way. Taylor spinning along the baseline, and Mullen from behind picks up the foul. So Terrence Mullen, who's played a lot of minutes in the first half in place of Jason Buchanan, picks up his second. Checking back in once again for Villanova is Greg Woodard.
I think it was when Buchanan picked up the 2 personals, Louis decided that he would not want him to get number 3, and Mullen's done a pretty solid job with the basketball out there.
Hope you'll stay with us at halftime, because we have plenty of activity coming up for you at half. We'll have our Big East halftime report, including a special feature on the academics, Big East basketball.
Plus, it gets very interesting when you look at the standings at this point with the tournament next week. Should really be an interesting setup, winding this year down.
They handed us a sheet that had all the possibilities, and after I read it, I was more confused than before. So,
well, we'll just suffice to say there are 3 teams with 6 and 9 records. 2 of them are here, and those 4 teams are all trying to make sure they win so that they avoid any possibilities to get in the 8-9 game next Thursday.
You're right. Foul inside. Foul is on Massey. For Massey, his first. We'll sort it all out for you at halftime as far as the Big East is concerned. Some other critical games tonight. And of course, Syracuse and Georgetown coming up tomorrow. At the line, another freshman. Looks like we're saying that all night long, but this is Billy Singleton. A newcomer.
He's had some very strong games this year. Knows how to play inside. He had reconstructive knee surgery a year ago, so he shook off the rust, and he's really had some real quality minutes this year for St. John's.
Trying to tie it up again, and with a pair at the line, he does. The Singleton with 2:20 to play first half, and the score 29-29. Miller out front. Kenny Wilson is on the bench. Woodard with it. Massey. Now West gets the pass. Starts a baseline move from behind. He's tied up by Mullen. The possession arrow will give the ball to St. John's. So Mullen sneaked in that time and picked up the tie ball.
He's 1 out of 3 on those moves. The other 2 times he picked up fouls, but he keeps digging. Terrence Mullen. Really been a battle of front courts here in the first half. Villanova's had, of course, Kenny Wilson with the injury, and then the backup, Chris Walker. He broke his foot yesterday, so they've had to go more inside offensively in this one.
Rust enters the pass. Singleton's turnaround jumper won't go. Tipped up by Seeley and in.
That's a fine athletic play by Seeley. Reaches back with his offhand, the left, to bring it home.
So the edge goes to St. John's at 31-29.
One of the few offensive rebounds for St. John's, and they converted.
West to tie. No, it comes right out to Mullen. Mullen will push now. The collision out front. The blocking foul has been called.
Clearly not a popular one here, but that is so difficult for a defensive player in the open court to establish position and pick up the charge. Always easier for us to get another look at it. Probably the toughest call for an official. Miller. Ooh, that was a tough call.
Very close.
That's a tough call.
But you can see all the white jerseys. Villanova really reacted quickly and had gotten back in pretty good shape defensively.
One thing that the viewers should understand, the defensive player's feet do not have to be planted. It's head and shoulders and position in front of the offensive player is all you need to do. Establish legal guarding position. I'm not so sure he didn't on that one.
Mullen is 16 of 18 at the line. So like his brother, he can shoot it.
Nice form. Good follow through.
2 there, and it's a 4-point lead for the Redmen. That is their biggest lead of the first half. Rowley's team has been up by 7 at one point. We have 1 minute and 20 seconds to go.
Chris Massey now seeing action. He really hasn't played many minutes at all, so Rowley having to reach at the point guard tonight.
West gets the roll. It will count.
That's a big one.
8 points for West. Count the hoop. Charge the foul to Malik Seeley, his first.
That's really a matter in this game of the backcourt people just not making mistakes and getting the ball to the money people, and one of them on the floor clearly for the Cats is Doug West. He's been around. Got to be some emotion. You're playing the last home game. West, Massey, and Wilson. I think that's one of the reasons why Wilson probably started the game. His foot's really bothering him.
Probably would not have started otherwise. A 1-point lead now for St. John's. Redmen have the ball. You mentioned Massey checking in. He's a sophomore. He's an old man from Hermitage, Pennsylvania.
I believe he's a walk-on, too. One of the 4 walk-ons on the Villanova team. And now Villanova in a 2-3 matchup zone. Good
feed to Wardan inside, and we have another held ball, and this time it'll be Villanova. 54 seconds remaining first half. It is 33-32 St. John's.
Wardan made the perfect cut that time. If he just caught it squared and went up, he had found the seam in the middle.
So it is Massey out at the point right now, working against Mullen.
See, this is where if you had a more experienced St. John's team out there, I mean, Mullen's a newcomer too, you'd put a lot of pressure, but both teams in the same boat.
Both teams going deep into their benches here in the first half. Taylor looks to Woodard. Still 20 seconds on the shot clock, a difference of about 8 between that and the game clock. This is a 3-pointer. It's too hard. The foul is going to be on Taylor. He came up with a rebound along the baseline, but he'll be charged with a foul. Well, Rodney Taylor picks up the foul. St. John's will have the basketball, a 1-point lead, and 22 seconds left to play first half.
Oh, an unpopular call here, but a lot of times the weak side rebounder has his hands low. May not push off that much, but the hands are in bad position. And the coaches teach their forwards, weak side particularly, to keep the hands up and away from people so that there's no doubt. Woodard has great shooting for him. It just doesn't seem to go down for him. His shooting numbers down. Kind of a touch foul weak side, but the hands, again, were in bad position on Wardan's back.
So Wardan will go to the line. 6 points for the freshman from Sunnyside, New York. And he's going to come out as soon as he shoots the foul shot, assuming he makes it. Verdun hits a pair. He has 7 points in the game. Muto will play the final 22 seconds. St. John's once again with a 3-point lead.
I think Muto's in there for defensive reasons, and Verdun, of course, has been shaking off all year long that calf injury. But a good touch for a big man.
Mullen with pressure on Massey. Woodard now gets a screen, gets to the baseline, and is fouled by Singleton.
Would have been smart there as soon as he felt contact to try to just fling that ball up to the basket. I believe that'll be on the floor, a one-on-one.
It is on the floor. There are 6 seconds left in the first half. And Woodard will go to the line. 75% foul shooter. Louis Carnesecca wrapping up year number 21. He did take a couple of years out, coach the pros.
All-time winningest coach at St. John's. Passed the legendary Joe Lapchick a couple of years ago.
This is kind of a first, though, Ronnie. I think it's the first year that the Redmen are going to be under 500 in Big East play.
Well, the backcourt was decimated. Michael Porter gone. Drew Harvey gone. Academic difficulties for both. And Shelton Jones gone. So one with a young team, and they've overcome some adversity.
Mullen, as time runs out. Blocked. That'll do it. First half is over. And the visitors from Jamaica, New York have the lead. It's 35-34 St. John's. We're at the DuPont Pavillion. We'll have our halftime activity coming up as we recap what's happened here so far, right after a word from your local station. And again, we welcome you back to DuPont Pavillion, where it's the Redmen leading the Wildcats by 1 point, along with Ron Perry. I'm John Sanders, and we're delighted to have you with us for the wrap-up game for these two teams in the regular season, and who knows what lies ahead. But let's take a look at what has happened in the first half. We'll go back and pick up a few highlights from the first half. Good start for Matt Brust as he hit from outside.
Yeah, he hit his first couple of three-pointers in the ball game. He was very strong from the perimeter, and that opened up the St. John's inside game.
Yeah, but the big man inside was Grice. Watch this nice little move, soft little hook in the lane.
He was able to isolate down low. St. John's played behind the big guy, and he's got the soft touch and deceptively quick moves. And Jason Williams was also a factor, as usual, for the Redmen with some good up fakes. And this time he has to pull one out of the bag of tricks to get around Tom Grice. And the freshman, too, huh? Malik Sealy.
Got a great feed that time from Williams to really set up that stuff. St. John's leads by a point at halftime as the two teams come back on the court. We'll quickly check some stats for you. For Villanova, the same starters that began the ball game. Shooting percentages fairly even, little edge to the Redmen. Rebounding, the Wildcats still clinging to that lead.
That's right, and they had half of those rebounds were offensive boards, and I think the fact that they rebounded so well and St. John's shot it so well, each kept themselves in a very close ball game.
Rust has 10 to lead the scoring for St. John's. Pretty even there with Williams and Verdun. Verdun also in the picture. It's Grice, West, Taylor leading the way for Villanova. It'll be Taylor, Massey, Grice, West, and Wilson. For St. John's, Williams, Sealy, Verdun, Buchanan, and Brust. Each team starting the fellows that began the game. Senior night for the Wildcats here at DuPont Pavillion. Buchanan, who sat quite a bit of the first half with a couple of fouls. Grice knocks it away, and the first turnover taken away by Villanova. And very slow coming back up court now is West. Doug West not running well at all, at least at the start of the second half. Wildcats have the ball. Massey holding it. In the corner to Taylor. They look to Grice. West also with a high-low post. Now Massey, a move into the lane. Wilson. Swing it to West for his three-pointer. Won't go. Brust had it. It tips away to Buchanan. Back comes the freshman to run the offense for the Redmen of St. John's. Up in the air to Verdun from the side. He's got it. Verdun now has 9 points, and the lead is 3 for St. John's.
So important to get off to that good start in the first few minutes of the second half. It's just like the momentum you can pick up at the beginning of a ball game.
West pops out to take the pass. In the corner to Taylor. They get Grice, but he tries to overpass. Yes. Here's Buchanan. It's a 3 or 4 on 1. Buchanan lays it up for Williams.
Nice job by Buchanan. He finally lured Kenny Wilson to come over and set the table. Jason Williams gives him a little pat on top of the head on the way down the court.
And the first 2 points of the second half, first 2 baskets of the second half go to St. John's. The Redmen push their lead to 5.
Kenny Wilson playing out there with the stress fracture in his right foot, and Doug West is playing hurt with the back.
And West a nice soft jumper. So West into double figures with 11. The lead is 3 for the Redmen. We have 18-12 remaining in the game. Carnesecca and Massimino matched up.
Another great matchup. Big East coaches, 1-2-2 now by Villanova. Match up, and they go to the man-to-man out of it.
Williams inside to Brust. Stripped away from him. He controls to Buchanan. Wardan looks inside. Nobody there.
You know, Villanova's in the man. They're going through with the cutters right now, but they do a great job to sag out of it. Disguise it well.
Williams along the baseline. Looks low. No place to go. Massey picks it off for Villanova. And it's a 4-on-1 for the Wildcats. West against Brust. Hangs. Rolls away. Massey follows. Stripped from him. Here's West. Stripped from him and out of bounds.
Oh, there's some wild action in there, and it all started because Gary Massey really gave that ball to Doug West a little bit too soon. Both players are used to just filling the lanes and receiving that pass from Wilson. This is what you call don't bring the ball down inside. You just won't come up with it.
Wilson playing as much as he can, but he's on the bench now. Massey is fouled going in. No basket. The freshman David Miller is back on the court. Do not count the basket. The foul was on the way in.
Malik Sealy picks up the personal, and he was the same guy who had flicked the ball twice to prevent a couple of easy Wildcat baskets on the play before.
First foul of the second half. West to Taylor right along the baseline. Up and in.
That's the most successful inbounds play, the very simple alley-oop, but he was just left unattended that time. That was an easy one for the Cats.
39-38. Back to that one-point edge, same as halftime. Buchanan, beautiful move, can't get the roll on the basket. Grice kicks it ahead. West with Massey trailing. It'll be West to jam it home.
Oh, his back looked okay on that one.
He's running well now. And Nova has a one-point lead.
Well, for the most part, the crowd's been quiet, but they're getting a little bit into it after that jam.
Williams along the baseline. Nice soft shot for Jason. He has 12. And back to the lead go the Redmen.
No matter how loud it gets, though, on the opposition's home floor, if you can get a basket, that's the greatest crowd silencer.
Partially blocked underneath by Williams. Got a piece of the shot by Miller. Matt Brust backed away. They almost turned that over. It's a 3. It's short. That's kept alive by Malik Sealy. Spins on the baseline. Has to go to Wardan. They'll reset the half-court offense. 16:08 to play in the game. The Redmen have the basketball and a one-point lead. Brust with the only three-pointers in the game. Williams in the lane. Now Buchanan. Williams for 3. Way short. Doug West for Villanova.
Not the shot selection that Louis was looking for that time.
West a quick move against Brust, but Matt was able to keep him off the baseline.
David Miller's got to step in there and be a shooting threat. Catch the ball so that you're always a threat offensively.
Grice with the turnaround. Missed everything because he shot it too hard. Buchanan against Miller. Massey went for the steal, didn't get it. Brust with a jump shot that's way too hard. Both sides a little bit out of control here early in the second half.
Yeah, it's definitely not pretty action up and down right now.
Foul is on Wardan.
Where it's so important that someone get the basketball, and if Wilson was out there for Villanova, he'd probably just get it, bring it out, put a fist up, and set a play up. You need to settle down sometimes when it gets helter-skelter.
15:05 remaining in the game. St. John's by 1 at 41-40. We'll be back after this. Welcome back. Not everybody focused totally on the game at this point. 15:05 to play. St. John's by a point here at DuPont Pavillion. And now we're ready. Dowdell outside to Miller.
Really playing out very evenly, and there's no reason to believe it just won't continue this way in the second half and give us a game right down to the buzzer or maybe even overtime, the way it's going right now.
So important for both teams. Miller tried to push it inside, and a foul was called as Massey hit the deck.
Sealy just pulled him down.
Malik Sealy now in a bit of a problem. He has 3 personal fouls. Miller will run the offense for Villanova. A little discussion continuing. Sealy and Massey have been mixing it up pretty good. Jim Burr wants to make sure he keeps things under control.
Some good preventive officiating there.
West started to move, and he picked it up.
Looks like he pulled about 3 moves together there and ultimately pulled up his pivot foot.
There's one too many as far as Tim Higgins was concerned.
Sometimes West gets penalized, though, because he does have quick moves and he gets it all going at once.
And it looks like it should be a travel, right?
Yeah, and as long as he keeps the pivot foot down, I think that time Jim Burr felt he dragged it a bit, though.
Still a 1-point St. John's lead. Buchanan almost lost it. Singleton gets it low. The follow won't go. Still the battle underneath, and Grice has it. It's West. He's got Massey on the other side. Fouled by Buchanan. He's in foul trouble now as he picks up his 3rd.
I thought Massey that time could have gotten the basketball. He had the angle opposite Doug West, and again, it's 2, forwards really handling the basketball, although a lot of the time West is off guard. Wilson usually dishes off there.
But also you'll see that Matt Brust is coming hard to get back into the picture and try to cut that angle out.
Would have been a tough lead pass. Thought he was there, though.
The jump hook is short. The lead to Buchanan is long. So Miller will reset the half-court offense. 14-10 to play. St. John's 41, Villanova 40.
Sloppy start to this second half.
Massey's jumper rattles out. And a foul called on Brust underneath. That is 3 on him, so it could get very interesting before long. And now is when the coaching comes into it. You've got to decide when and where and who.
That's right. Got to use the bench. Both of these coaches, of course, have done that for years. But when the shot starts to not drop, and right now there's a lid on the basket for both teams, that's when you start seeing some more turnovers and some more fouls, and we're seeing both.
Villanova with the basketball under their own basket. 5 team fouls on St. John's in the second half, none on Villanova. And the Wildcats managed to save that one. Good move by Miller. Grice with a little jumper. Good. Tom Grice has 12 points.
Tommy Grice, that's what makes him tough to cover. He can step out from 15 and drill it. Tough for the big people to cover him out there.
And it's the second half lead for the Wildcats. Sealy's jumper from the side, way short. Tipped up by Werdan. Touched last by Tom Grice. (42-41). Nova has the lead.
This game has no real rhythm to it right now. Both teams searching to get some kind of offensive flow going. The defense is aggressive, but I think both teams just not taking good care of the ball.
It's almost like one player gets the ball and wants to do it all himself, and they're not letting the team offense work. To the deck, Williams.
Yeah, there's like standing around going on offense. One player gets it, and it's like time for him to do it.
Grice now has 3 fouls. It's the first foul of the second half on the Wildcats. I think his plea is going to go unheeded.
That's right. I think Rowley's point is that the defense is behind Williams on that one and not fouling. There was some body contact, though.
First time at the line tonight for Williams. He has 12. Redmond down by a point. 13:03 remaining in the game. Very slow start to the second half.
And neither team really taking charge here, but consistently it's been evenly played.
It is 42-42. Some camera equipment. Well, they were pointing at one of the Nova cheerleaders, I believe, was chased away. to play, and we're tied at 42. That's all that's left of the regular season for these two teams.
Then it's tournament time, Big East style, starting next Thursday. At least that's for two teams in the 9 versus 8 game.
Massey, foul line jumper, good. 2-point lead, Nova.
That's a setup play. That's a good one. The screen down for Gary Massey.
Brust and Buchanan outside right now.
Love that matchup. Massey and Brust, two intense ball players.
As Williams turned to go to the baseline, the foul was called.
Now the freshman, Mark Dowdell, serious foul difficulty now with 4.
He is the first to hit 4, and he will quickly sit down as Taylor is back for Villanova.
Players right now are playing with a lot of reaching out there as opposed to playing the defense with your feet.
Turn around, Rodan tried to pass it. Now a spin move and a nice hook shot.
Pretty move by the freshman. Wheeling and dealing.
11 points for Rodan. We're tied at 44.
I mean, these bigger guys are just better and better athletes. They handle it. They can move with it. That's just a soft touch.
Miller penetrates. Grice gets the basket and the foul.
That's what penetration will do. It opens up all kinds of things, either for the shooter or if the defense comes at you, to dump it off.
That's the 6th-team foul on the Redmen, and it's the 3rd of the game on Werdan. He has 3, Buchanan has 3, Brust has 3, Malik Sealy has 3. Grice has 3 fouls. He'll go to the line for the first time in the second half. He is 3 out of 3, completing the 3-point play. 15 for Grice. And Villanova has its biggest lead of the second half. They're up by 3.
And these aren't particularly deep teams. They have to go way down into their benches with serious foul problems. Massey's really doing a job on Matt Brust. The opening just not there for Matt. It was early in the game, and he was hitting the outside jump shot.
They've been right in his face since then.
Denying him the ball.
Grice overplays the ball, gets the steal, and Noble will get the ball.
Timmy Higgins coming over to help out with Jimmy Burr.
Tim Higgins saw it from his angle. He said it's St. John's basketball.
Good teamwork by the refs. He had an angle on it. They worked together on that one.
11:39 to play. Nova by 3 here at DuPont Pavillion. Villanova shooting 50% in the second half to St. John's 33, and that's how Nova's gotten back in the game. Some good defense from Grice there.
Yeah, there was a scramble for that basketball, denied inside. It did look like it was flicked by Grice, although Werdan's hand was in the pile too, but the angle there by Tim Higgins, he saw evidently Grice hitting that ball out of bounds. Thought it was good work between the officials. Tough call.
Daryl Aiken in the lineup now for St. John's. First time we've seen him. Brust from the side. His first shot in quite a while, and Sealy keeps it alive. He goes up and rejected by Grice.
Just stopped him and then sent it back. Didn't hit it out of bounds. Kept it in play to set up the Villanova offense. Grice has had a couple of nice ones in this game.
Deflected 1 or 2 others, partially tipped, but a couple he's really slammed back.
He's had a solid game.
Miller from the side. It is Taylor with a nice jumper. Rodney Taylor in double figures now with 11 points. Nova has a 5-point lead.
Villanova's been winning the battle inside. See if Daryl Aiken can get something going for St. John's from the point. They're kind of standing around right now offensively.
Aiken gets it back from Williams. Knocked away by Massey, but Aiken is there for the Redmen. 20 seconds on the shot clock. The foul was called on Miller as Williams was trying to work the baseline. That's 3 on David Miller. So the fouls are starting to pile up. Team-wise in the second half, St. John's already at 6. Villanova at 3. A 3-pointer from outside. Short. Taylor rebounds for Nova. So Aiken took the 3-pointer. He's only 2 out of 6 on the year, and it wouldn't go.
See, both teams are in half-court sets, and they're trying to continually dump it down low, and I think that's why we're seeing the fouling in this second half.
Taylor in the corner, looking inside to West. Grice now. Massey from the side.
That's good ball movement by Villanova, set up by the biggest man on the floor, Tommy Grice.
And now the Wildcats have matched their biggest lead of the game. Brust will have to take a timeout. The Redmen will have to regroup. 9:47 to go in the game. 51-44. Back after this word from your local station. It is 51-44. Villanova for the second time in the game with a 7-point lead, and they're on a 7-0 run right now. Here's the foul situation.
Well, it's really getting intense with a lot of people getting very close to that serious 4 foul. Of course, Dowdell is there. The depth not there to cover it on the benches. Villanova digging in defensively right now, and that's been the difference.
Seeley outside to Aiken, and it's Miller coming out to apply the pressure.
Oh, Massey is just digging in defensively. Right in Brush shirt.
Nice starts to move down the lane. The blocking foul called underneath on Taylor. For Taylor, just his second personal foul.
Versatile move by Worden from the top, and we're seeing both big men, Grice and Worden, coming up top to get things done.
Other scores, it is Providence now really opening up a big lead over Boston College.
That's a must-win situation for the Friars.
And Pitt has come back as well. And both of those teams were behind at halftime. I think Pitt's chances really improve with each victory because they have those wins over the big teams.
That's right, absolutely. And Connecticut, if they lose, would go to 6-10 in Big East play. So they're one of the teams. And Providence, with a win, would go to 7-9.
Wordan's first time at the line in the second half, and he misses. He was 3 out of 4 in the first half. Misses his first chance in the second half. He's hit 4 of 7 from the field. He has 3 rebounds, and he missed both.
St. John's in a real drought offensively right now.
Miller against Buchanan, who has returned. Good move by Miller. Got a little seam to follow by Massey.
Well, Massey's done that so many times, but it was a fine penetration by David Miller.
The lead is 9. That's the biggest lead of the game.
Gary Massey now in double figures. He's an igniter out there. Matt Bruss really wants the basketball.
He gets it down the lane, off the glass, won't go, and he's fouled.
He wanted the ball. He knew St. John's needed one. He's that kind of kid. He'll gut it up there.
Very definitely Massey, with his family looking on senior night, one of the candidates for our player of the game. Massey with 10 points, and he has 8 rebounds.
And he gives the team such a lift emotionally. And he's got everyone playing tough D right now.
Rust has not scored in the second half.
St. John's has just gone stone cold right now. As a matter of fact, Matt Brust had 8 of his 10 points very early in this one.
Makes 1 out of 2, and he breaks his second half dry spell. 11 overall. The lead is 8. 8:40 to play in the game. It's 53-45.
Rowley is up calling plays right now. St. John's in the ambush defense, the 1-3-1. Got to attack it 2-1-2, hit the corners and cut. Swing the ball.
The Wildcats attempting to stretch it out a bit. Miller in the corner. Massey along the baseline, reverses. No basket.
He is so tough, though, on the baseline. He slithers down there.
Matt Brust now in big foul trouble. That's 4.
Look at Massey sneak along that baseline. No one picks him up. There's the foul on the floor. Gary Massey. So quick.
Loves to go up and under, doesn't he?
Really does.
That could be big trouble for St. John's with the 4th personal foul on Brust.
No question about it. There's still a lot of time to go in this one with 8 minutes.
Massey has 11. That's his first time at the line.
It's like Louis is just going to roll the dice right now and say, hey, We're going to have to win it with the guys that are out there and let him try to play through it. He knows he's got 4. He's a veteran.
Massey with a dozen, and the lead is 10.
They're down by 10. St. John's has just got to put something together. They need a Matt Brust out there. Got to get the ball to Jason Williams. He hasn't been involved in the offense here in this second half. He can put the points up.
The foul was on Miller as he went for the steal.
That poses a problem for Rowley because Kenny Wilson has that stress fracture in the right foot, and in the first half he brought in the walk on Chris Massey for several minutes.
And that is the 4th personal foul on Miller as well. So the fouls are really piling up. St. John's already over the limit here in the second half. The Wildcats at 6. It's a 10-point lead for Nova with 7:52 remaining in the game. Louis comes out to question something. Talking to Jim Burr. Four minutes and 27 seconds without a field goal for St. John's. They last scored with 12:19 to go. And we're under 8 minutes now. Wardan.
Nice block. Is that Grice over there getting a hand on it?
Doug West comes up with the loose ball. Villanova leads by 10.
Tommy Grice had a very solid outing inside.
A couple of strong candidates for Nova as far as player of the game is concerned, in Grice and also Massey. Here's Grice. A little short. Kept alive by Doug West. Massey now. Fouled on his way in. But he'll go to the line.
What a fiery competitor Gary Massey is.
4 fouls on Wardan. It's almost running like every player on the court has 4 fouls.
And that will, just as we've said, spell major problems when some of these people start to foul out for St. John's. There's the foul. Gary Massey.
I think he fouled him.
Job.
I think he fouled him twice. That is Gloria Rodriguez. She is the mother of Gary Massey. The families of all the seniors are here for this night. This, by the way, as Massey is at the line, is the highest scoring, or will be by the time the season is over, the highest scoring senior class in the history of Villanova.
Oh, that's right. You've got Doug West up close to 2,000 points, and Kenny Wilson well over the 1,000-point mark, and Gary Massey up close to 900. Just an outstanding trio of seniors, and certainly they'll be sorely missed here at Villanova.
Well, Massey with 14 points, and if Nova can win, they know one thing for sure: they will not have to play on Thursday against Boston College. Buchanan with a basket. And for Jason, who averages about 9 a game, his first field goal of the night.
Well, he handles it so well. He's a good penetrator. Just needs to work on that outside jumper. St. John's has got to dig in now defensively and try to put a few points up. With they're a patient team, they're not a great come-from-behind team because they're not the explosive offensive unit.
And 6:50 to go in the game. West for 3.
That's a push-off by Taylor.
Not much doubt about that. You could see that coming. Rodney Taylor picks up his 3rd.
We talked about that one in the first half. The hands in the back always get picked off.
And we will walk to the other end for the last 6:48 of this one. We're going to shoot them all.
This might be what helps St. John's to creep back in because they are a good free throw shooting team.
An excellent free throw shooting team. It's 71-9 on the year. Of course, Villanova's even better than that.
Anytime you can get your team shooting up over 70%, that's a consistent number for a team. Grice is really in the lane quickly. It's like before the ball's even released that time.
And Tim Higgins reminds him.
See, a little quick that time.
A pair for Singleton. All 4 of his points have come at the foul line. It's inside 10, an 8-point lead for Nova.
Where Nova ought to swing the basketball and try to isolate Grice. He's matched up with Jason Williams. He's got about 5 inches on him.
Taylor and West working in the near side. Miller has done a good job tonight.
He has. He's been solid with the basketball. Hasn't made many mistakes.
Not been that much of an offensive threat, but I think he's done what they expected or wanted.
Right.
Here's Massey's jumper. It'll be short, and he'll go to the line.
Yeah, I mean, in this game with Kenny Wilson probably only playing because it was senior night, his last game at home here at Villanova. And they had to rely heavily on David Miller. Chris Walker breaks his foot yesterday in practice, so the point guard and backup point guard hurt, and he stepped in admirably.
Barry Milhaven checks in. That is 4 on Seeley. So Seeley has 4, Werdan has 4, Brust has 4.
Who doesn't have 4?
Well, let's see. Doug West doesn't have any. How's that?
All right, we found someone. That's unusual in this game to not have picked up a personal.
Massey has been perfect at the line, 5 for 5, 15 points for the senior from the Bronx. Trying to go out in a big way in his final game in DuPont Pavillion.
But we thought he had to rise to the occasion, and he's doing it with some people injured that we've mentioned.
9-point lead. It's 58-49. The clock shows 6:10 to play.
St. John's has just got to find a way to get it to number 11. Jason Williams.
There's the entry pass. He goes to the baseline, up and in. Good, strong move.
The reason I say that is Jason Williams will get it, and he finishes off. He's a man who knows how to score in the paint.
The lead is 7.
Williams up to 15 points for the game.
West had his shot, passed it up.
They want to work the clock a little bit here. Look for the high percentage shots.
Stolen away, but a foul called on the new man. Barry Milhaven, who picks up the foul, obviously has some to use up. He immediately and aggressively attacked the ball when they entered it down low.
Yeah, they triple teamed Tommy Grice on the play, but eventually the temptation too great to reach down. Or reach up, actually, in that case.
Definitely way up. Tom Grice is 7-3. Missed the front end. Williams with a rebound. The Redmen can come back to within 5.
Free throws so important throughout a ball game, but particularly down the stretch. Cats in the 1-2-2 matchup zone. Matty Brust probably the outside threat right now. Inside, Jason Williams. Bang the boards. Billy Singleton. Nice look.
There's the feed and the foul. And now Taylor has 4 fouls.
Fine penetration by Buchanan that time. Found the seam. It was a great dish inside to Jason Williams. Splits this time. David Miller unable to recover. Jason Williams doing what he does best, getting up, drawing the contact.
2 shots for Jason Williams. 16 now for him as he closes in on his season average, which is right at 19.
Had a fine season. Quietly gotten it done. Really had one of the best seasons of anyone in the Big East.
Hits a pair. 17 for Williams. The lead is down to 5. And now the fans in DuPont Pavillion want the Cats to come back. 5:08 to play. Miller against Buchanan. West. Little stutter step. Gets the shot up and in.
Takes charge. West knew that he was going to go for it.
He's got 15 points. Back to that 7-point Villanova lead. It's been as much as 12 here in the second half. At one point, St. John's had a 5-point edge. Milhaven. Buchanan against Miller, and Grice intimidated him. Milhaven draws a foul from Grice.
What an aggressive effort by Milhaven. Just crashed the boards that time, and they say on the offensive rebounds, just get yourself up in the air, and Milhaven really comes flying in from the weak side, fearlessly draws the foul.
And he joins that not-so-elite group with 4 fouls.
A lot of people about to get rung up in this game.
Dowdell, Grice, Taylor all have 4 for Villanova. Seeley, Werdan, Buchanan, Brust with 4.
These are 2 teams that are just scratching and clawing to pull this game out. They know they've got the glimmer of hope for the NCAA, and they don't want to play in that 9-8 game.
They left out one player. Remember, Miller has 4.
That's right. These are 2 teams, though, that have really gone at it in this one. It hasn't been pretty at all times, but 110%'s been there.
Milhaven's first point. The lead is 6. Villanova has that lead and the basketball with 4:30 to play in the game. Miller has played most of the way for Wilson. Grice back to West. Into the lane, the jumper good. And he's starting to come on now. Doug West has 17 points.
Well, it's crunch time. Doug West, I think, of ball players I've seen across the country, is that huge last jump step. Frees him up for the jumper.
62-54 Villanova out of bounds, and the Wildcats get it back.
That's a big turnover.
Villanova trying to avenge a 19-point defeat to St. John's at St. John's.
It's a gutsy effort without Kenny Wilson out there, the point guard, and Doug West. His back certainly seems to have loosened up in this one. He looked pretty sore starting out the second half.
He really did. He was limping noticeably after the first exchange when he was coming back up court.
Probably from sitting down at halftime, and then it loosens up as he perspires and heats up and hits a couple of jumpers. Always helps loosen up an injury.
Make you feel a lot better.
That's right.
Taylor at the line is 3 out of 4. He's got 12, Massey 15, Grice 15, and West 17. So very balanced scoring for Nova. Two for Taylor. Taylor hits a pair. He has 13, and it's a 10-point lead for Villanova. We'll be back with more after this. The Plymouth Player of the Game to be selected at the conclusion of this game and during every game televised by the Big East Conference Television Network as part of the Chrysler Corporation sponsorship of Big East basketball. It's not going to be an easy decision because there are a lot of good candidates.
St. John's has got to try to make their final run now, down by 10. Got to put a couple of jumpers together and put some more pressure on Villanova defensively.
A 10-point Villanova lead. Clock shows 3:36 left.
Villanova's done such a good job to get to Matt Brust.
The three for Buchanan.
That's a big one, obviously, and St. John's still kicks back, though, into the half-court set. They've got to pressure the basketball. A lot of fours.
A total of 7 players still on the court with 4 fouls.
Villanova just working that shot clock, which is now down to 30. Try to take some time off it, and then this should be a big basket if they can deliver.
3:03 to play.
They ought to try to find Doug West if they can out of this set. He's had the hot hand.
Massey along the foul line. 15 seconds on the shot clock. Now West gets it.
He wants it.
Against Brust, no shot there. Miller starts against Buchanan. 8 seconds on the shot clock. They're going to have to put it up. They do. And it goes.
How about the big basket by the freshman?
Only his second basket of the game, but David Miller hits a key one. A 9-point lead for Nova, 2:34 to go.
He really plays with a lot of poise out there.
They want to get it back to Brust for the 3, and he's short. Miller with a rebound.
Where Rowley will probably want to spread the floor and start working that's right, the double high stack. He'll kick people out and just work this shot clock down and try to penetrate again. Nice catch by Miller.
Taylor almost sailed it out of bounds. Taylor along the baseline is fouled.
Villanova were able to put that surge together in the second half with good defense, build up this lead, and now they've been maintaining it.
Exactly 2 minutes remaining in this game. The lead is 9. Taylor goes to the line. Singleton goes back to the bench. Strong performance by Rodney Taylor. 14 points on the night. He has made 6 foul shots in a row. Make it 7.
Got a nice touch. He gets good arc on the ball, good follow through.
He has 15, Massey 15, Grice 15, and Doug West 17. An 11-point lead.
Be awfully tough for St. John's unless they can put some threes together.
Intercepted by Massey. The Redmen in deep trouble now. 1:45 to play. Timeout taken by Villanova. A minute and 39 seconds remaining here at DuPont Pavilion. It is 68-57 Nova. We are back. 68-57 Nova with a minute and 39 seconds to play. And Villanova trying to win their 16th of the year and hand the Redmen their 12th loss of the season.
Now they are in the driver's seat right now. They're just working the shot clock. And the last time they were hammered on the backboards by St. John's, and they've really turned it around tonight. That was one of the surprise stories here. We thought they had to get that kind of job done. They really have. And St. John's, who shot it so well first half, has cooled off here in this second half.
Well, you called at the beginning the things that they had to do. And they've certainly done it. Plus, let's give some credit to the guy with the basketball right now, Miller, playing.
Absolutely. We talked about the injuries at the point guard slot. He stepped in and done a great job.
Nice play. Beautiful feed to Grice. Tom has 17. The lead is 13, and that is the biggest lead of the game. Less than a minute to play. They've just not let Brust get involved in the game at all in the second half.
They've sealed off Jason Williams pretty well, too.
Brust up.
Great
Pushed
hustle.
one guy out of the way to get the ball. His three won't go. Tipped up once, twice, and Taylor with a rebound. 40 seconds to go in the game. An intentional foul called.
Now, there's good sportsmanship, though. Jason Williams goes right over there and gives Rodney Taylor 5.
40 seconds remaining.
Great job by David Miller. A lot of poise. A dejected Luke Carnesecca.
Taylor will get a pair. And he's hit 8 in a row.
He's been dynamite from the line.
Hit 9 straight, 9 out of 10 on the night. Missed his first one, and then hits 9 in a row. 17 points. Villanova now. Chris Massey will come back into the lineup, and we have selected, it's a difficult vote, a player of the game, but it is going to be Massey, Gary Massey. A great job. 15 points, good strong rebounding. I think he had 9 rebounds.
9 rebounds, 5 steals, and I thought Villanova's defense turned the tide here in the second half. Things started off slowly in the second half, and as usual, he was the catalyst to get things going.
You'll want to share that with Grice, who helped him so much in the first half.
It's been a team effort, and Doug West has certainly overcome the sore back problems, made some big field goals, but I thought Massey was the spark that Massimino was looking for tonight.
72-57. Doug West, Kenny Wilson, they say goodbye to the folks in DuPont. Bourdain is fouled out, but the hand is for the seniors.
Gary Massey, what a trio.
They will become the highest scoring group of seniors in Wildcat history. And a salute from the folks in DuPont.
Well deserved. Seems like these guys have been around forever, and then again, it seems like it's been so fast.
Singleton with a rebound. We have 25 seconds to go. Buchanan for 3. It's his second one. They'll take the quick timeout. The freshman did not score in the first half, has 8 here in the second half, and we have 21 seconds to play. I went back and dug up the sheet, Ronnie, trying to figure out what would happen. Of course, we don't have the final yet on the other games. I don't know whether Providence won and Pitt won.
It looks like Providence is in the driver's seat, though, and Pitt was winning that game pretty handily against UConn, although you never know. We didn't see how much time was left. And that would put Providence at 7-9, and UConn would stay at 6-10, along with St. John's, and push Villanova up to 7-9.
Well, they put all these possibilities down here, but they don't have one for what's happened so far, so forget it. As I said before,
they'll go to head-to-head contests, and then they'll go against how they did with people higher up in the standings, and it'll all flush out.
And we'll know everything by tomorrow.
Villanova, though, and it looks like Providence, they were up by about 20, I think, against BC, have gotten themselves out of the 8-9 game next week, and it'll come down to St. John's or Connecticut.
Assuming that Pitt held on to win that game.
St. John's and Connecticut split this year, so they'll have to look at how they did against teams higher up in the standings.
The foul will go to Buchanan with 18 seconds to go and a 12-point lead. Villanova will wind up the season with a victory and finish 16-14 for the regular season. They will not play again until Friday in Madison Square Garden. And depending on what else has happened, possibility that the Redmen might have to play on Thursday. Pavillion comes on, the junior from Upper Darby, PA. We'll get a little court time.
It's really terrific that some of the guys that normally don't see the minutes get out here late in this one. A little round of applause.
Woodard has 3 points, all at the foul line tonight.
This is one of the kids who will really have to step in next year with the graduation of the 3 seniors and become a force here at Villanova. He's got all the tools. Got to put it together. He's a fine-looking shooter. The numbers haven't been there for him, though.
Taylor with 17. Massey, our player of the game, with 15. Grice with 17. West with 17. 17 for Jason Williams. The foul is on Matt Brust. Pounds the table on which our monitor is located because he is finished for the night.
Now, there's no question. He plays hard. He plays to win, and he's certainly frustrated to see this loss here tonight for the Redmen.
Well, Brust got off to the great start, had the good first half, only 1 point in the second half. They really zipped him up and out of the game. Muller checks in now for Villanova, so Roley's going to give everybody a chance.
Well, Brust needs the opening. He had it early. He looked like he was off to a big night. Then I have to give a lot of credit to Massey. He matched up with Matt Brust during critical stages of this game and didn't allow him to get the ball.
The miss. Time is going to wind on down. 1 second, and that's it. Villanova has defeated St. John's. The final tonight in DuPont Pavillion, 74-60. Our player of the game was Gary Massey. At one point, Nova had a 15-point lead. They did a good job defensively in the second half and helping to turn it around.
That was the key. Gary Massey was the catalyst, and they were able to get some good offense together to win it.
74-60 the final. For Ron Perry, I'm John Sanders. The preceding, a Big East Conference Television Network production.